I think we should start by asking, transition to what? What is the ideal political environment we deserve in Uganda? To answer that, we must look at models. There was an election in Botswana. Did you people even notice that there was an election in Botswana? It never made any controversial news. And the ruling party was defeated. And the president handed over. And life is going on in Botswana. Ghana, the NPP lost to the NDC. So the opposition party took over power. The election was very calm. Malawi, there was also an election. So when we talk about a transition, the transition is not the destination. We need to explain to Ugandans that a transition is not a destination. It's a phase leading to the kind of Uganda that we want, where you don't need to have armored personnel carriers on the streets on the day of elections, where the election officials are not receiving calls from powerful people. But for the time being, we have to deal with those issues. Now, many Ugandans, they face this discouragement. I think most Ugandans will not work in a hospital, because in a hospital, there's also a mortuary. Are you aware that every hospital has a mortuary? Every day there are people being taken there, but that's not the main news. Now in Uganda, it seems our cameras are focused on the mortuary. So we don't report about this. We have our old alliance since the Bush days, because DP was cheated in 1980. It is our election which was stolen, because we won that election and we were supposed to form the government. So many of our DP members followed President Museveni to the bush. And when President Museveni took power, he appointed almost 60% of his government were DP. They were the ministers. And they laid the foundation for many of the policies that helped the country to recover. So DP is really not in the league of the other parties, because the other parties are just anti-Museveni. So now what will they do if President Museveni is not there? Their politics will collapse. For us, we are not just anti-Museveni. We have a lot of ideas. So I believe that these two blocks eventually will work, just like it works in the marketplace. Like I told you, you have Pepsi, Coca-Cola, you have Airtel, MTN. Now if you are, Leica Mobile and these other ones, it's generally a struggle. In the politics of the world, we used to have the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc. That is the way it is. It is opposites. Opposites can only be two. You cannot have three opposites. So, as the two blocks galvanize, I foresee that my idea of a three-phase transition is unfolding. The first phase of the transition is the period before the 2026 elections, where generally the contradictions are naked before our eyes. Everybody sees the contradictions. Now the second phase is between 2026 and 2031. That's the phase for building consensus, where we talk openly with one another, and where the forces would come together. You would expect that the opposition would galvanize around NUP. If only the NUP would allow it, then they have a strong voice, a policy-oriented debate with no double dealing. if they can do that, and also the NRM would have honest conversation. For us as DP, we are solidly in the NRM block, and we are moving together. And many people within the NRM still don't understand it, but President Museveni understands it. Just like many people in DP still don't understand it, but I do, and it's my duty to bring my party on board. All those issues are going to be settled in the next 5 years. The new Uganda will definitely come after 2031. And sometimes a transition can be prolonged. But we look forward to the day when Ugandans go to vote and the two blocks trust each other enough to say, if this block wins, we are safe. They care about Uganda as much as we do.
You speak as if the Ugandans have power. These ones mean. Do we have a say in the transition of this country? And
for now, you may not have as much power, but you must hold firm to what you deserve. The violence in countries like Ghana had firing squads. It had a very blunt militarist government headed by Jerry Rawlings.
Yes.
And we may even have a bout of militarism anyway. It is even possible to have that. But what matters most is that eventually the citizens must ensure that the constitution is raised above all those conflicts. We are going to have phases. Even bad things can yet happen in Uganda. But that should not let us be totally discouraged, because raw power cannot last forever. So eventually, we hope we reach a level where you don't have a political party swearing that when we take over power, we are going to overrun you. You must leave Kampala. We are going to take over your houses. When you talk like that, it means that you are not yet ready really to take power. Who do you think will even allow you near power when you talk like that? If you come and tell me that you are going to get my cows and distribute it to the ghetto, or that you are going to put in jail everybody, it is important for leaders to show that they can coexist. That's why we need a safe room where leaders can talk, to agree on rules of engagement. Like football. Every football team wants the cup. They want the trophy. But you cannot say you do anything to keep the trophy. The rules must be fair. So I still remain optimistic that despite the overbearing role of the military, and in our delicate situation, the military obviously still has a role. But I don't agree that they should be interfering with choices of citizens on who should lead them. I talk like that because I faced it in 1996. You know, I came to Parliament 6 weeks after the elections. Actually, 6 weeks. That's when I was announced. 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks. Because I had won, but I could not be announced because they claimed some votes were coming by helicopter from the front line. when the votes arrived, they had not used the voters register. They had used the military payroll. And on the payroll, even a dead soldier had voted. Many dead soldiers voted. So when my agents pointed it out and said, this person is dead, did he come out of the grave and take the